A waitress stumbles while serving, but the millionaire's reaction will leave you speechless. The elegant clink of crystal glasses and low murmur of hushed voices filled the air at La Belle Epoque, the city's most exclusive restaurant. High-profile guests whispered secrets behind their meticulously arranged tables, while the golden glow of candlelight danced across their designer suits and silk gowns. In the midst of this polished glamour, Emma wove her way through the throng, a tray of drinks balanced precariously in her trembling hands. Every night felt like a performance. She just needed a few tips from her culinary dreams, a mission to save enough money for cooking school. But tonight was different. Tonight, she caught a glimpse of destiny, shimmering amid the chaos. Then it happened. A sharp, sudden gasp rose from the crowd as her foot slipped on a forgotten napkin. Time slowed. Drinks flew, liquid arcs painting the air like small, vibrant fireworks. Emma's heart seized as she watched the red wine land squarely on Victor Wells, the infamous reclusive millionaire, infamous for his scathing critiques and unforgiving business acumen. He was a statue of a man, impeccably tailored in a jet-black suit and an expression carved from ice. The gasps of the onlookers echoed in her ears, but as she prepared for his icy wrath, a warm, unexpected smile broke over Victor's face. "No harm done," he said, his voice like velvet, drawing astonished glances from the room. Emma blinked, her mouth agape. Could this really be the same man everyone whispered about? "Let me help you," he continued, stepping closer, brushing a spot of Merlot from her blouse. "It's just a drink, don't fret." His kindness melted the tension that clung to the air with a sweetness she didn't expect. Suddenly the fire of embarrassment began to ease, replaced by stirring intrigue. As they spoke, Victor's eyes shimmered with a hidden world. He confided, in a quieter moment, that his younger sister had died years ago, casting a shadow over his wealth. "Cooked her favorite recipes. Those were my happiest days," he confessed, his voice thick with emotion. Emma felt a familiar ache in her chest, the sorrow of loss binding them together in a way she hadn't anticipated. "Perhaps you could share your thoughts on my family's secret recipe collection," he proposed, an earnest glint in his eyes. "I seek to reignite my own passion, and you could find it quite liberating." The offer hummed between them, a flicker of opportunity lighting a path ahead. But just as their connection began to blossom, the door creaked open. A shadow slinked inside, an old rival known for his deceitful dealings. Emma could feel the chilling tension seep back into the room, fogging the spark between them. The atmosphere shifted. The laughter and clinking glasses faded into muted whispers as the rival's gaze met Victor's. Emma's heart raced. Would this man expose Victor's past, unearthing buried secrets and threatening the fragile bond they had started to build? Caught between her dreams of culinary fame and her growing feelings for a man shrouded in mystery, Emma faced a painful choice. What would happen next? Would she dive into this tumultuous world full of danger and emotions? Or would she retreat to safety and her simmering dreams? Hey, before we continue with this incredible story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Just take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming up, and since you're here, smash that like button because it really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who is part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Emma held her breath, the tension in the room suffocating as the door creaked open wider, casting an ominous shadow across Victor and her. The rival stepped further inside, his smirk radiating confidence that churned Emma's stomach. She could sense the weight behind their exchanged glances. This was not just an old rivalry. This felt personal. A cold shiver ran down her spine. Every person in the room felt it. The thrill of looming drama, the fascination with wealth and power. The rival's name slipped through the whispers, Nathaniel Graves. He was a man known for his ruthless business tactics and treacherous methods. Emma's heart raced. Would he shatter the fragile moment she shared with Victor? Still cleaning up your messes, Victor? Nathaniel's voice, sharp and mocking, cut through the air. The guests turned their heads, curiosity piqued. I see you found yourself an assistant. How quaint. A lump formed in Emma's throat. She could sense Victor's stiffening posture, the way his jaw clenched. He was a pillar of strength, but just beneath the surface, there was a tempest brewing. What do you want, Nathaniel? Victor's calm tone contrasted sharply with the brewing storm in his eyes. I just came to remind you of unfinished business. Nathaniel's smirk widened, revealing a glint of malice. He turned his gaze to Emma, eyebrows raised as if assessing her worth. And who might this be? Your new muse? Or perhaps your next investment? Something stirred within Emma, a mix of anger and fear. She wanted to shrink back, to disappear into the deck of silver cutlery and gleaming plates surrounding her. Yet she also felt a fire igniting within, urging her to stand her ground. Emma, she managed to say, holding Victor's gaze as she found her voice. Just a waitress, trying my best. Is that what you call it? Playing with fire? Nathaniel laughed, a sharp bark that echoed throughout the restaurant. The crowd stirred with tension, eyes glinting with morbid curiosity. But Victor, remarkably unfazed, took a step closer to Emma. Leave her out of this, Nathaniel. She has nothing to do with our past. His protective tone shimmered like a shield, but the unease didn't fade. Just then, Nathaniel's expression shifted. But she does, Victor. She really does. He pulled out his phone, and with a swift motion, pressed a button. A low hum of a video echoed through the space, unexpected and chilling. On the screen, an old news clip flashed, bringing the room to a sudden hush. Emma squinted, her heart thumping louder with each frame. An explosion, she whispered, recognizing the downtown building. The tragedy that had once been splashed across all the papers. It seemed a former competitor went up in flames, Nathaniel said, grin wide and devilish. And look who was in charge before the incident. Victor's face paled, shock blooming in his eyes. No, I had nothing to do with that. His voice trembled, emotions breaking through the stoic facade. Didn't you? Nathaniel leaned in closer, a predator savoring its catch. Let's see which secrets you'd rather keep buried. Victor. Emma felt the world spin. Everything she thought she knew about the man beside her crumbled with Nathaniel's words. Was Victor really the man everyone whispered about? As the crowd buzzed with excitement and murmurs, Emma's thoughts raced. She was tangled in this web now, caught between her dreams and a man whose past threatened to engulf them both. What truth lay hidden beneath the polished surface of Victor Wells, and how deep did the layers of betrayal go? Would their connection survive this revelation, or would it be the very reason to sever everything? She clutched her tray tighter, heart pounding, unsure of who to trust. Everything was at risk now, and the real game was just beginning. Emma's heart raced as Nathaniel's voice sliced through the tension, his mocking tone like glass shattering in the silence. Victor's gaze darkened, his protective stance around Emma tightening like a noose. The murmurs from the crowd turned into a low hum, a chorus of hushed questions and shocked expressions. Please, Emma whispered, terrified of what lay ahead. What is this? The video clipped on, showing flames licking the sky and billows of smoke. A sinking feeling in her gut as she realized she was standing in the eye of a storm. What had she stumbled into? Victor, she said, panic bleeding into her voice. You weren't involved, were you? But Victor was locked onto the screen, his expression shifting from disbelief to something darker, more primal. It was an accident. I didn't want anyone hurt, he barked, anger slicing through his fear. Nathaniel laughed cruelly, the sound grating against Emma's ears. An accident, Victor? Or is that just what you tell yourself? He leaned in closer, the smell of his cologne, sharp and sickening. Your past won't stay buried. You can't outrun this. As Nathaniel reached for another button on his phone, Emma's instincts kicked in. She wasn't just some waitress. She was a woman who wanted to cook, to create. Rage bled through her fear, cutting sharp. "Stop," she yelled, startling herself. "You don't have to do this." All eyes turned toward her, surprise painted on their faces. Emma could feel the heat rising in her cheeks, but she stood firm. She was done being a silent observer. Victor may have a past, but he's not defined by it. Nathaniel narrowed his eyes, bemused by her defiance. "And you are?" The little waitress, trying to play knight in shining armor. Before Emma could respond, the lights flickered. A deep, resonating boom echoed through the restaurant, like thunder on a clear day. Everyone froze, confusion spreading like wildfire. Victor turned towards the source, eyes wide. Then it happened. A shattering explosion rocked the room. Glassware shattered, and screams erupted. The crowd surged back, sending chairs skittering across the floor. Emma's heart thundered in her chest as chaos engulfed them. Dust filled the air like a storm cloud, choking off the light. She stumbled, trying to shield her face as her instinct screamed to escape. Victor pulled her close, shielding her from flying shards. The moment between them felt electric, charged with danger and urgency. "Get down," he shouted, his voice breaking through the panic. They dropped to the ground amidst the creeping chaos, limbs tangled. Emma's breath caught as she looked into Victor's eyes, searching for certainty in the frenzy. What had just happened? Had Nathaniel planned this? But then, through the haze of confusion, something caught Emma's eye on the floor, a small, glinting object. As she reached for it, her fingers brushed against a shard of metal, cold and unfamiliar. She hesitated, panic still gripping her. "Don't," Victor began. But it was too late. The moment the object touched her palm, everything shifted. A blinding light exploded, illuminating the smoke-filled room. Emma gasped as the laughter of onlookers transformed into panicked shouts, the last sliver of the calm before the storm shattered. What she held was not a shard of glass. It felt like something more. An ornate key, enigmatic and heavy with secrets. Victor's grip on her tightened. His confusion mirrored in his eyes. "Where did you find that?" The atmosphere changed, shifting towards something darker. Emma felt their bond slipping into something deeper, more dangerous. The mystery echoed in her head, questions swirling like a tornado. What did this mean? What had they truly walked into? And just as fast as it started, Nathaniel's voice cut through the chaos again. "This is only the beginning." Fear struck like lightning. Emma's breath hitched. The night had turned from chaos to something else entirely, and they were at the eye of it. Secrets and shadows loomed larger than ever. What more would unfold, and how far down the rabbit hole would they go? Behind the warmth of the key lay shadows of their past, tangled with whispers of a future fraught with danger. The chaos enveloped them like a thick fog. Emma's heart raced, the clattering of glass and panicked screams blending into a symphony of terror. In that moment, trapped on the floor, half protected by Victor's strong frame, it felt like their world was crumbling. "Hang on," Victor shouted, pulling Emma closer. She could barely see through the swirling dust, her lungs burning as the heavy air choked her. The room felt like a flash fire, spitting embers into their skin. Amid the chaos, she felt the cold metal of the key heavy in her palm. But she couldn't think about it now. Survival mattered most. "What do we do?" she gasped, her voice nearly drowned out by the panic surrounding them. "Get to the back. Move," Victor commanded, already pushing her toward the edge of the dining room, his body a solid wall against the stream of frightened guests. But before they could escape, Nathaniel's voice sliced through the chaos. "No one leaves," he bellowed, his silhouette towering like a dark shadow. "You're all caught in a trap." Emma's stomach dropped. A trap? What had he set up? This was more than a simple rivalry. This was madness. With sudden clarity, Nathaniel stepped forward, eyes wild, sweeping the crowd with a manic grin. This is a demonstration, a lesson in betrayal. His laughter echoed against the walls, sending chills down Emma's spine. The room felt electrified, vibrations of every heartbeat pulsing through the air. And then it happened. A piercing alarm blared, and lights flickered to life. Nate's face tightened as chaos erupted anew. Smoke billowed, but mixed with it was a shock of brilliant red. Emma squinted, heart racing. The hue glowed like a beacon, almost illuminating the darkness Nathaniel embodied. "Everyone stay back!" Victor shouted. But Emma realized it wasn't just light, it was fire racing toward them from the back kitchen. "Victor!" she screamed, clutching his arm. In that twisted moment of excitement and fear, Nathaniel unfurled a grand design, his twist set to forever change everything. He pulled a small device from his pocket, its digital screen flashing ominously. "Let's take a look at the truth, shall we?" he mocked, pointing it toward the crowd. "Time to reveal what's hidden." Gasps erupted. He pressed a button and the screen lit up, showing a looping video of the explosion. But there was more. Footage rolled, highlighting Victor's meetings, clandestine exchanges, and grim negotiations. Emma's heart pounded, nerves bristling, as Nathaniel's dark intentions unfolded. "Look at this evidence. Victor's hands aren't clean. He's a liar, a manipulator," Nathaniel ranted, and with every clipped frame, the grip on Emma's chest tightened painfully. The truth danced dangerously close to the flame. Then, in a moment so swift it felt unreal, Victor lunged toward Nathaniel. "What did you do?" he roared, fury igniting his eyes. Nathaniel's laughter was maniacal, reverberating through the chaos. "Don't you see? You've always been a puppet, and I'm pulling the strings." And that's when everything cracked open. A window shattered from the force of the growing fire, sending shards flying. Emma flinched, her heart stuttering at the realization. The footage had painted Victor as a villain. But there was something about Nathaniel that felt more sinister. He knew too much. But then Victor's hand gripped the key Emma still held tightly, eyes glinting with something she hadn't seen before. Determination, mixed with desperation. "We have to expose the truth, Emma. We have to take him down." Suddenly, her world tilted. The man she thought she was starting to trust was entangled in a web of lies, but those lies hid something darker. The key wasn't just an object of chance. It was something more powerful. "Victor, wait," Emma shouted, feeling the weight of uncertainty crush her. But he was already moving, the fire blazing on their heels, his focus unwavering. "Don't hold back." He snarled at Nathaniel through clenched teeth. And just like that, in the midst of the chaos, a new fear surged inside Emma. Was Victor the hero or the villain? Was she caught in a rush of emotions that betrayed her instincts? The room trembled around them, and as the fire cracked and the truth twisted, Emma could only wonder. What if Nathaniel had played them all from the start? What shocking truth lay buried, waiting to erupt? A scream broke through the air, slicing the tension down the middle, as fiery shadows danced. Emma felt her world splinter further. The key in her hand pulsed, resonating with a power she couldn't comprehend. Where would it lead them next? Emma's mind spun as chaos erupted around her. Victor's grip was firm on her arm, pulling her towards the back of the restaurant, but her heart was pounding with a mix of fear and uncertainty. The blaring alarms pierced through. The smoke, and she thought she could almost taste the flames burning just behind them. "Victor, we need to get out," she yelled, her voice drowned out by the panicked shouts. But he was frozen, his gaze riveted on the screen Nathaniel had activated. She could see rage flickering in his eyes, mingled with something darker and more terrible. "Emma, that video, they're not just clips, they're calculated," Victor said, urgency creeping into his voice. "It's meant to destroy me. He's using my past against me." "Your past?" Emma questioned, the word tasting bitter in her mouth. But before he could answer, Nathaniel's voice rang out again, laughter bubbling with a sinister undertone. "Enjoy the show, people. All secrets must come to light." Nathaniel raised the device, and a new video began to play. This one flickered to life, but it wasn't just footage. It was interspersed with personal moments of Victor's life, the laughter with his sister, quiet moments over shared meals, the tender smile that had first caught Emma's attention. But then it twisted. The video cut to dark scenes, shadowy figures meeting in hidden places, things that had nothing to do with food or family. Emma's breath caught in her throat. Was this what Victor had really been involved in? Biohazard signs, whispered deals, and money exchanging hands. It all played out in front of a shocked audience. Emma felt bile rise in her throat. "Victor, what is this? You didn't—" "I swear, Emma, I didn't know. I was protecting her," he shouted over the chaos. But before she could process his words, a sudden, loud crack echoed through the restaurant. A beam's creak mingled with an explosion of glass as an overhead light fixture broke loose, crashing down just feet from where they huddled. "Run!" Emma shouted, adrenaline pumping through her veins. Victor didn't hesitate, leading her towards the kitchen, away from Nathaniel and the chaos. But in the darkened hall, as they rushed past the swinging doors, everything shifted again. The back door swung open, revealing a stormy night outside. The streets flooded with the bright lights of emergency vehicles. As Emma blinked against the bright glow, she sensed something change. In Victor. "Emma, I need to tell you something," he began, but the words were cut off by the sudden roar of the fire behind them. Then, without warning, Nathaniel burst through the door behind them. His face twisted in triumph. "Going somewhere?" Before Emma could react, Nathaniel thrust a hand towards Victor, pressing a button on his device again. The next video played was even more shocking. This one showed a familiar face. Emma's. But it was a moment from long ago, a smile in a kitchen filled with warmth and laughter, hands covered in flour, the scent of cinnamon in the air. "What is this?" she shrieked, dread pooling in her stomach. "Your own." "Little secret, Emma," Nathaniel taunted, eyes glinting with malice. "You see, you're not just a waitress in this mess. You have ties to this very world, a culinary genius from a family with connections deeper than you ever realized. Your mother. Her recipes are stolen goods tied to those shadows in the video." Every heart that beat against her chest thundered as realization washed over her. Every dream she'd had, every moment spent wishing for a different life, was based on a truth she hadn't even known. "You're lying," she snapped, grasping for sanity. "Am I?" Nathaniel laughed, as cruel as it was loud, echoing around them. "Think about it. Your family's legacy isn't just about food and family. It's entangled with everything Victor is running from." Emma blinked, her vision blurring. The key in her hand felt heavier, pulsing with hidden significance. Who was she really? What had she been born into? Just as fear mangled everything she knew, a thought flashed through her mind. "Then, we expose him together. We can end this." Victor's expression hardened, confusion shading his features. "Where do you stand, Emma? Are you with me?" Nathaniel's wicked laugh echoed around them, drowning out her racing thoughts. "But what if I told you one of you is a planted spy? A traitor? Who do you trust?" The ground felt like it was crumbling under her feet. The weight of secrets crashed like waves, threatening to pull her under. Emma's heart raced, confusion swirling in her mind. With everything spinning, the question screamed through her. Who was truly the ally and who was the enemy? And could she trust herself? The restaurant continued to burn behind them, the heat creeping closer. And as the flames danced, so too did the shadows of their intertwined fates. What dark secrets would the fire reveal? Emma felt the world spinning, the flashing images on the screen tearing at the threads of her reality. The fear inside her twisted tighter as Nathaniel's laughter echoed. Each revelation about her family, hitting like a punch to the gut. Your mother's recipes are more than just traditions, he sneered, leaning forward, enjoying the chaos he'd unleashed. They hold secrets far darker than you know. Shut up, Emma shouted, desperate to drown out his words. Her hands trembled against the key that pulsed like a heartbeat in her palm. It felt like a connection to something she didn't fully understand, but knew was crucial. Victor's gaze flickered from Nathaniel to Emma, confusion and anger churning within those stormy eyes. Emma, you have to trust me. We can figure this out, together. But just as Emma opened her mouth to respond, a new sound rose over the chaos. A low rumble, deep and ominous. The ground beneath them shuddered, and Emma stumbled, her heart racing. What was happening? Suddenly, a blinding light burst through the kitchen. The air felt electric, charged with energy. Emma squinted, her instincts screaming to cover her eyes. A deafening roar followed, and before she could comprehend it, the roof above them tore apart, sending debris flying like shrapnel. "Get down!" Victor shouted, pulling Emma close just as fiery sparks rained down, crashing around them. The sheer force felt like a hurricane ripping through their refuge. Chaos unraveling all around as Nathaniel tried to shield himself with a twisted grin. But as the smoke began to clear, something fell from the heavens, a figure, cloaked in a swirling mist, dropped right in front of them like a bolt of lightning. Emma's heart leaped to her throat. Who was this? With a swift motion, the figure pulled back its hood, revealing a woman with striking features and piercing green eyes. It was Victor's sister. "I've come to finish this," she cried, her voice echoing above the crowd, unyielding and fierce. Victor's face went pale, his mouth opening in shocked disbelief. "Alina?" Time seemed to stop. Emma felt the air thicken with revelation. Alina was supposed to be gone, lost to years of darkness and despair. Yet here she stood, more powerful than any foe they faced. Nathaniel's laughter died in his throat, turning to astonishment. "How is this possible?" he gasped, backing away as if shocked by the magic of it all. "Because I've been watching," Alina said, the flames of the kitchen reflecting in her eyes, "and I know all the secrets." Nathaniel thought. He could control the game, but he has no idea who he's dealing with. New currents of tension raced through the room. Emma felt like she was part of a twisted fairy tale, where the hero they needed was the one they thought was lost. Alina's return shifted the dynamic, igniting a fresh wave of uncertainty. "Emma," Victor said, urgency rising in his voice. "You need to understand." But she interrupted, the weight of everything crashing in. "Why didn't you tell me?" Emma's voice was raw, emotions spilling over. "Why would you hide your sister from me?" "I didn't know she was alive," Victor shouted, desperation spilling through his words. "I had to protect you from my past." As Alina stepped forward, her presence bold and commanding, she pointed a finger at Nathaniel. "You think you can manipulate us? You have no power here. The truth belongs to my family, and I'm ready to reclaim it." With that, something in the air shifted. The glow of the key in Emma's hand intensified, resonating with Alina's fierce determination. The flames behind them flickered oddly, as if drawn to her fiery spirit. An unsettling truth washed over Emma. Everything she thought she knew was a lie. Was she merely a pawn in this elaborate game? As the pieces rearranged, the stakes rose. All around them, the very structure of the restaurant trembled, shadows darting like whispering phantoms. Nathaniel's face twisted with manic rage. "You're all fools," he screamed, backing further away, now cornered. "You have no idea what power lurks just below the surface." In that moment, Emma's heart raced with a sickening thrill. If Alina's return meant they could take back control, what did that mean for Victor? And who was Emma in this complex web of loyalty and past sins? The confusion lay thick, pregnant with possibilities as the fire crackled. "What happens now?" Emma asked, breathless, feeling the weight of destiny pressing down. Alina turned her piercing eyes straight to her. "Now we fight." And as the words echoed, The walls of their lives trembled with unanswered questions. Who would they become in the fires of truth? And would they survive the revelations that lurked just beyond? Now we fight. Alina's voice charged the air with a fierce energy. Flames crackled behind them, but that meant nothing now. Emma felt an electrifying hope surge through her, but it was quickly snuffed by Nathaniel's maniacal laughter echoing in the chaos. "Fight? You think that will matter?" he taunted, and the weight of his words hung ominously. Just then, the ground shook again, stronger this time. Dust swirled around them, and Emma stumbled, catching her breath against Victor's arm. "Alina, what are you doing here?" Victor's voice was a mixture of relief and disbelief. "Saving you," Alina replied, determination coursing through her as she faced Nathaniel. But Emma was still grappling with the truth. What had been hidden? Before she could voice her thoughts, Nathaniel launched at them, eyes wild. "You're all just playing with fire." He lunged forward, reaching for the device still in his hand. In that frantic moment, Emma realized something. This was all moving too quickly, fragments of truths and lies swirling between the three of them like a tempest. With a fierce shout, Alina summoned the flames. They swirled around her, almost alive, but Nathaniel only scoffed. "What can you do?" he spat. It was a challenge, but something shimmered in the air. Emma felt it crackle around her, like static. "Don't underestimate her," Victor warned, stepping protectively in front of Emma. But Alina held her ground, raised a hand. "I won't let you take this from us." In that moment, time stretched. Everything else fell away. There was an intensity, a focus. It felt like life and legacy hung by a thread. And then bang! A sudden explosion rang out, higher than before. Everyone blinked. The restaurant trembled again, but this time, it wasn't just from Nathaniel. A crack appeared in the floor, deep and jagged, breaking right through the middle of the chaos. "Look out!" Emma screamed. But the words barely left her mouth before the ground beneath Nathaniel shattered. His head whipped around, shocked, but it was too late. He plunged into the darkness, swallowed by the widening crack, his screams echoing sharply in the air before fading into nothingness. Breathless silence enveloped the room. Alina reeled back, eyes wide, disbelief etched across her face. Victor held Emma tighter. "What just happened?" Emma's voice wavered, trembling with confusion. But then came another sound, thumping, heavy footsteps. From the crack, a figure slowly emerged, tall and ominous, cloaked in shadow. Alina's eyes widened in recognition. "No, it can't be." A chill ran down Emma's spine. What had just happened? Who was coming from the abyss? "Alina," Victor said, his tone low and urgent. "Get ready." But the figure stepped fully into the light, and everything crashed down around Emma. Within that shadowy figure was a face she never expected, a face she had trusted, one she believed was lost to them. It was her mother, Emma. Her mother's voice was soft, almost a whisper, cutting through the air with a piercing clarity that sent shockwaves through Emma's entire being. "I know everything." The breath hitched in Emma's throat. The foundation of everything she understood shattered, her world spiraling again. "Mom?" The word tasted foreign, clinging like a dream too real to comprehend. "You're alive? All this time?" "I had to protect you," her mother said, stepping forward into view. Eyes filled with the weight of unspoken truths, from all of this, from both of them. The ground beneath Emma felt unstable, as if her entire history had shifted. Alina stared, frozen in shock, as Victor's face contorted to confusion. Emma's heart raced, questions tumbling unspooled in her mind. How deep did this go? What truth had she been blinded to all this time? "Mom, why are you here?" Emma's voice trembled as she struggled to grasp this moment. "Because Nathaniel isn't the only one with secrets," her mother replied, pain glistening in her eyes. "And it's time you knew the truth." The words hung heavily, bursting with weight. The key in Emma's grasp felt like a spark igniting something buried deep within her. She had so many questions, but the first was the most urgent. What truth? In that moment, the burning world around them faded and all eyes were on her mother. The tension crackled in painful silence. Would this unravel more than she ever imagined? What darkness lay ahead? Emma, her mother's voice was soft, almost a whisper, cutting through the air with a piercing clarity that sent shock waves through Emma's entire being. I know everything. The breath hitched in Emma's throat. The foundation of everything she understood shattered, her world spiraling. Mom? The word tasted foreign, clinging like a dream too real to comprehend. You're alive? All this time? I had to protect you, her mother said, stepping forward into view. Eyes filled with the weight of unspoken truths. From all of this, from both of them. The ground beneath Emma felt unstable, as if her entire history had shifted. Alina stared, frozen in shock, while Victor looked bewildered. Emma's heart raced, questions tumbling unspooled in her mind. How deep did this go? What truth had she been blinded to all this time? Mom, why are you here? Emma's voice trembled as she struggled to grasp this moment. Because Nathaniel isn't the only one with secrets, her mother replied, pain glistening in her eyes. And it's time you knew the truth. Emma felt her legs weaken. The room felt charged like a store ready to break. What truth? Before her mother could respond, a loud crash echoed from the direction of the back door. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted again. The remaining smoke cleared for a heartbeat, and an unexpected figure stepped into the light. Nathaniel. No, that wasn't Nathaniel. This was something different. The man before them looked almost like him, but something was off. His features were too sharp, too defined. Emma shivered. The crowd fell silent, every eye turning toward him. The energy shifted from fear to something else, unease. Ladies and gentlemen, he said, his voice smooth but laced with menace, I'm here to clean up. A slow smile crept across his face, but it didn't reach his eyes. Alina stepped back, her hands quaking. What? Who are you? The man chuckled. I'm the one you've been looking for, Alina. The truth isn't what you think. His eyes glinted like steel. Emma's heart raced. What do you mean? The man pointed to Emma. She's the key to it all. What? Victor exclaimed, glancing between. You can't be serious. That tea in her hand? The man gestured. It unlocks not only secrets, but also paths. Paths you thought were long buried. Emma's breath caught in her throat, confusion wrapping around her like a thick fog. What are you talking about? We've played this game long enough, he stated, but now it's about to change forever. Then, before anyone could react, he lunged forward. In an instant, the air crackled with energy. Emma felt that key vibrate against her palm, glowing faintly. She didn't know what was happening, but it felt dangerous. Stop, she shouted, clutching it tight. You can't have it. The air shimmered, swirling like a storm as he reached for her. His hand passed through the vibrant glow of the key, but then there was a flash. A blinding white light erupted from the key itself, illuminating the whole room. In that moment of crystallized chaos, the power surged, and then silence. When the brightness faded, everything shifted. Emma blinked, taking in the new surroundings. They were no longer in the restaurant. No flames, no chaos. Instead, they stood in a stark white room, with no edges, like a void. Where are we? Emma whispered. Panic creeping in. This is the truth, the man said, his former demeanor replaced by something far more sinister. A place where destinies are rewritten. Alina looked around, dread settling in. No, this can't be happening. And then, like a clock, ticking past midnight, Emma realized the truth. The key wasn't just unlocking their past. It was shattering everything she knew about her future. Emma, her mother began, voice trembling. This is your choice. The implications hit like a tidal wave. Their pasts were intertwined, but now the path forward felt treacherous, like walking a tightrope. "What do you mean?" Emma demanded, uncertainty and fear merging in her voice. The man smiled, a real smile this time. "Choose wisely. Everything depends on it." What had they walked into? And more importantly, what would emerge from these swirling shadows? "Now, we fight." Alina's voice cut through the dense silence, and it felt electric in the air. Emma's heart raced, confusion mixing with They were trapped in this strange white void, and fear crawled under her skin like 1,000 ants. The man's grin widened, eyes shadowed with something dark. Aha! The bravado of youth! He stepped closer, and an unseen energy shimmered around him. "But understand this. The truth is far more complex than any of you realize." Victor shifted, eyes narrowed. "What do you mean?" "Your little family drama? It's only the surface." He leaned in, voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "Secrets weave a web far deeper." Emma felt lost, swirling in this revelation. "What are you talking about?" she breathed, panic escalating as she gripped the key tighter. It pulsed in her palm like a heartbeat. "Your mother, her real history, is the key to unraveling everything," the man replied, brows raising emphatically. "That's why I'm here, to expose it." "Expose what?" Emma demanded, her voice stronger now, pushing through the fog of confusion. "What could you possibly know?" Instead of answering, he pointed to the key. "What you hold unlocks more than just doors. It opens up a legacy tied to darkness. And your mother? She's much more than just a protector." Cascading dread hit Emma straight in the chest. Did her mother live a double life? Alina's gasp punctured the thick tension. "No, it can't be. She would never." "Oh, but she did. And now," he said, eyes twinkling with something like glee, "you get to decide what happens next." "Stop it," Emma shouted, fear and rage mixing into a combustible storm. "What secrets?" But before he could reply, the ground shuddered violently. The ethereal white space split open. Darkness below revealed chaotic depths. Alina screamed, and for a moment all Emma could do was hold on to Victor. They teetered on the edge as pieces of the void began to crumble, collapsing into shadows. Then the worst thing happened. Out of the blackness emerged a figure, tall and imposing, dressed in shadows. Emma squinted. A familiar face took form, her face, but older, twisted. "Mom?" she gasped, her voice shaky with disbelief. "Yes, darling," her mother replied, smooth and cold. "I'm finally here to help." Heart pounding, Emma stumbled back. "You? But how? I've been watching," her mother continued, stepping forward. "You're all so naive to think you could unravel this without me." "Unravel what?" Victor shouted, fury mingling with confusion. "That key you hold is a binding artifact," her mother explained, voice cutting through the fog in the air. "And it holds more power than you realize. It ties our fates together, our blood, our legacy." Emma shook her head, the world spiraling. "What are you saying? You've lied to me. All this time." "Lied?" Her mother's voice chilled, eerily calm. "No, my dear. I just protected you from the truth. You were never just a waitress. Your lineage connects you to power and danger." Everything crashed down. Emma felt her world spin. Memories of her childhood, mundane moments now felt tainted. Was she really who she thought she was? "Your mother's past is filled with dark undertakings," the man chimed in, reveling in Emma's shock. "But more importantly, you've inherited it." A scream erupted from Alina. "You're lying. You're just trying to manipulate her." But the man laughed, rich in triumph. "No, the bloodline speaks for itself. This isn't about manipulation. It's a calling." Emma's chest tightened, the air around them pulsed like a living thing, filled with tension. Between disbelief, fear, and anger, she felt pressure building, tightening her throat. "Do you see now, Emma?" Her mother stepped closer, eyes glittering. "You must decide. Continue this fight or embrace the truth and lead." Lead? As darkness swirled closer, Emma felt despair creep in, sensing the shadows wrapping around her. "Lead where?" she whispered, fear creeping in like ice water. The pain of revelation throbbed within her, doubts clawing at her heart. But just as a scream threatened to escape her lips, the world trembled violently. "Your time is running out." And in that moment, everything unraveled. The fabric of reality twisted, unraveling along with Emma's understanding of who she was and where she came from. Secrets she thought would bind her family together might just tear them completely apart. What was the truth hidden behind her past, and how far would she have to go to uncover it? The tension hung in the air, thick as smoke. Emma's heart raced, each thump echoing like a drum in her ear, drowning out the chaos that surrounded them. The shadows of her mother and the dark figure faced off, the weight of unspoken truths hanging between them like a sword ready to drop. "Choose wisely, Emma," her mother's voice rang out, echoing through the void. "You have the power to determine how this story ends." Emma felt the pressure of the key in her palm, its heat pulsing against her skin, igniting a sense of determination within her. She had spent her whole life striving for more, searching for meaning beyond the tables she served. But this was a weight she hadn't anticipated. "Stop lying to me," Emma shouted, her voice slicing through the thick fog. "You didn't protect me. You kept me in the dark." Her mother's gaze shifted, sorrow flickering across her features. "I was trying to shield you from the truth, from what this world demands of you." "Demand?" Emma laughed, a bitter edge seeping into her tone. "I didn't even know this world existed until a few moments ago." The figure in the shadows leaned in, eyes glinting. "You think this is just a game? Those in power, they won't stop until they claim what's theirs." Suddenly the darkness behind him writhed and shifted, shadows intersecting as if recognizing their power. Alina took a step, fists clenched. "We won't let you use her as a pawn."
"I'm done being used." Emma stepped forward, the pulse of the key flooding her with courage.
"I'm ready to take control." "Very well," the figure said, amusement curling on his lips. "Show me." With steely resolve, Emma raised the key, feeling its warm energy ignite a spark of clarity. "I don't need to destroy. I need to understand," she declared. "All those years spent dreaming of a culinary career, of family recipes. They're more than just dishes. They're stories, lessons." Then it happened. The key emitted a blinding light, filling the void with warmth and clarity, illuminating every face in the crowd. Emma could see the memories etched in their eyes, the love, the pain, the tangled fates that had woven them. "All together. Reveal," she shouted, and in that moment, the key turned, unlocking the shadows gripping those around them. Threads of light surged forth, weaving a tapestry that depicted their intertwined histories. Betrayal, love, loss, and resilience splashed vividly across their innate canvas. A deep, resonating hum filled the air, pushing the shadows back, reclaiming the space for truth. Just like that, everything shifted. The dark figure melted into nothingness, the lies whispering into silence. "Emma," Alina exclaimed, rushing to embrace her, tears streaming down her face. Victor stood still, awe reflected in his eyes. "You did it. You faced the truth." "Together," Emma replied, looking around at her newfound family, bound not just by blood but by the battles they had fought. "We faced it together." Suddenly her mother stepped forward, cautious but hopeful. "You've unlocked something incredible. We can change everything." But with that, Emma's chest tightened. "But how? What do we do now?" The warmth of the key settled, its glow transforming into a beacon of hope. "We rebuild," Alina said firmly, determination shining in her green eyes. "We take back our story, together." As soft, ambient light began to illuminate the space around them, it felt as if all the doubts had lifted. They had fought the shadows, revealed the truth, and now they could reshape their destinies. Emma held the key close, feeling the threads of her life intertwining with her mother's and Alina's. "This is just the beginning," she said with conviction. Together they stepped forward, hand in hand, ready to embrace a future filled with love and hope. determined to rewrite their story on their own terms. Before you go, this is the moment to show your support. You have to subscribe right now so you don't miss any of the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button because it really helps me with the algorithm, and flood the comments section with your thoughts and theories about this wild ending. Instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how this ends. Don't wait even one more second to share this. Real fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.